And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you're having a blessed day, and I hope that this video finds you. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the things that helped me go from looking like this, 295 pounds, to now what I'm looking like today. And it's with meals like this that often helped it. So let me break down for you guys the things that helped me lose over 100 pounds. But first things first, I want to get into what we got right here. So right now I got a Greek yogurt bowl, high protein Greek yogurt bowl. This is like candy, this is like dessert for me. So what we got is Oikos 000 plain Greek yogurt. I have about a handful of some blueberries that were frozen in the freezer. I have some peanuts, honey, a little bit of pink salt, cinnamon, and then I threw a whole mandarin in there as well. And then on top of that, I have Truvani's plant-based chocolate protein powder in there, about half a scoop. And this is gonna get me through the rest of the night, and I'm gonna be satiated, and I won't be hungry for the rest of the night, honestly. Like, this will hold me over, and then I'll be right back to regular eating tomorrow. So before I learned how to eat like this, or before I even learned that eating like this was even possible, I went through a lot of the stuff that most people face, thinking their body's broken, trying every diet under the sun, and it's just not working. I was always wondering why I couldn't either steadily lose weight or why I would gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. And it wasn't until I started to learn the nuances of losing and gaining weight that it's really a numbers game at the end of the day. Gaining and losing weight is all about calories in versus calories out. Now, every single person has their own specific daily caloric value that they're supposed to stay within those parameters. So based on your age, your height, your gender, and how active you are throughout the day is going to determine about how many calories you should be eating on a day-to-day basis. Now, once you get that number, if you stay below that number by about 200 to 500 calories, you will always and consistently lose weight. If you eat at that number every single day, you will never gain or lose a pound. If you eat above that number consistently, that's when you start to gain weight. That's why you see all your favorite fitness people, they go on cuts, they go on bulks, they go on cuts, they go on bulks, they gain weight, lose weight, because they understand the numbers behind it. And once you understand your daily caloric value and how it works for you and how to work it, now it just becomes a whole game for you, and it becomes a numbers game. You can go build up muscle, cut down, build up muscle and cut down. But for most people, they don't understand what their caloric value is. They don't know what it is, and they've never even heard of one. So you go into losing weight or going on a diet or weight loss journey completely blind, not knowing what to do. You're just thinking, all right, well, maybe if I eat salads, follow what these fitness gurus tell me, eat white rice, eat chicken cutlet, low fat, high protein meals, I'll get those results, And for the most part, if you do what someone else does, you'll get their type of results. But when it comes to weight, there's so many nuances because your body doesn't operate the same as that fitness guru or that person that you look up to in the sense of how to lose weight and how to gain weight. Your fitness journey is just like life. It's personal to you. How your body is and operates and reacts to things is completely unique in comparison to someone else. So yeah, you can follow the same plan and structure, but as far as how many calories to eat in a day and all of that, and then the macros, now that's when we get into the real math game of this. You can look at someone who has your same build, but they don't take in their numbers might be a little bit more different than yours. So now you're thinking, well, if I just copy them, I'm going to get exactly what I want. It's not necessarily like that. That's why it's important to understand what are your values, what are your daily caloric numbers, what is that supposed to look like, and then tracking your calories. Now, I know that that's something that a lot of people hate. Even I personally hated it. I did not like tracking calories because it almost gets monotonous, it gets annoying. But Tracking calories for a certain amount of time is very helpful because it allows you to understand what portions should look like and really what 2,000 calories looks like in a day, and how easily one little thing can affect your weight loss journey. You know, you might just be thinking, oh, if I free pour this bit of olive oil, you know, it's good, not knowing that that little free pour is 180 calories right there and you haven't even thrown anything into the pan. People tend to forget that anything you put into your body, whether it's a liquid or you're eating it, except water, it counts as calories. It's going to add to that daily caloric number. So you might be having 4 and 5 cups of juice, but you're saying, oh, I only eat twice a day, but you're having all of these cups of juice. You know, you're having little snacks, you're grazing, you're picking day to day. That begins to add up. Now, don't get me wrong, there's different body types, endomorph, ectomorphs, you know, people who can snack and graze all day and it not affect them like it's nothing. But you have to understand what type of body type you have and what works for you. See, for me personally, I tried every single diet, vegan, paleo, all of that stuff, and I never found the results that I wanted. And it was because I didn't find a diet that really fit to my lifestyle. Like, yes, I like salads, I like fruits and all of this stuff, but for me to go vegan, it's not feasible. Like, it's just not realistic for me. You know, for me to go paleo, yeah, I can do it, but in the long run, it's just not feasible for me. It wasn't until I found the carnivore diet, which is basically meat, eggs, and seafood at its strictest form. So any type of meat, which is beef, pork, chicken, poultry, whatever the case may be, even though chicken and poultry, same thing, whatever, bison, all of that stuff, is having any of that, eggs, and then any seafood. So you're essentially eliminating carbs from your entire diet. It's basically keto on steroids. For me, I didn't go as strict as that. I went, you know, carnivore diet, focusing on meat, eggs, and seafood, but at the same time, I kept fruits and vegetables in my diet as well, because I wanted to diversify the diet. And then, like I told you, everything is, you know, unique to you. Once I found a diet that really, really worked for me, my lifestyle, the foods that I like, losing weight became so much easier, because now I started to learn how to count calories. I learned what my daily caloric numbers and values should be. I learned how to stay below that so I could start losing weight. Then I mixed that in with a diet that helped me stay consistent and actually had foods that I liked. So now it didn't become hard, or it didn't feel like I was on a diet. It just felt like this was my way of eating. You know, that made a big, big difference. Now, the biggest difference that really took everything to the next level was becoming more conscious of the types of food and the quality of food that I was eating. You know, ingredient swapping, learning how we shouldn't be eating with seed oils, vegetable oils, canola oil, all of that stuff. Understanding how to read food labels, not taking in any more preservatives, additives, pesticides, you know, the red lakes, the yellow lakes, the chips, anything processed. Once I learned what that stuff really is and what it does to the body, and I eliminated it, oh my goodness, the weight started to fly off my body like it was absolutely nothing. You know, not to say you can't enjoy your occasional bag of chips or whatever, but there are better options out there. And, you know, one bag of chips is not going to kill you, but it's also not going to help your cause either. You know, eating a bag of Doritos twice a week or once a week, no, it's not going to be terrible, but is it going to give you the body that you want? Most likely not. Once I started to arm myself with the knowledge necessary to start losing weight, gaining weight, finding a diet that really works for my lifestyle, including the foods that I like in it, not feeling like I'm on a diet, but more, this is just my eating habit. The friction that I used to have with dieting and losing weight completely went away. Another piece of advice that I could give you too, find about 4 to 5 consistent meals that you genuinely like, that I'm talking about you can eat them every single day for the rest of your life. Find about 4 to 5 meals like that and rotate those meals. on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, whatever works for you, day-to-day basis, doesn't matter. It's whatever works for you. That's the biggest thing that you're going to hear me say that a lot. It's whatever works for you, because this journey is specific and unique to you. You know, I can only tell you, hey, listen, try this, try that, but you're ultimately going to know what you really like and what really works for you. You know, you're going to learn to trust your body. You're going to build rapport with yourself. You're going to learn to listen to your body. A lot of times we don't listen to our bodies. We eat with our eyes, and then we get caught in those demise. The stuff that really works for you, you start to see that it's no longer a diet. It's not as hard as you think. And it's a lot more fun and sustainable. I've been eating the way that I've been eating for the past 3 years now, and it was the best decision that I made. I don't eat, I eat very minimal carbs. If I eat carbs, they're timed carbs. They're either pre-workout fuel or post-workout recovery. I don't eat processed foods anymore. I don't eat cakes. I don't eat cookies. I don't eat anything that, if you look at the label, it looks like a science project or I can't pronounce it. I focus on single ingredient, whole nutrient dense foods. That's what you need to, that's the key. Single ingredient, whole nutrient dense foods. Going back to understanding and having food swaps, I told you earlier about canola oil, seed oils, and things like that. Switching your regular white table salt for pink salt. What was another big one that did it for me? No more refined sugars. If you really want sugar, raw cane sugar, if at the very least, or switching it out for honey, blue agave, things of that nature if you want a natural sweetener. Instead of doing your 2% milk or your skim milk, doing oat milk, almond milk, or raw pasture-raised dairy. Not eating cage-free eggs, but eating free-range and pasture-raised eggs, soy-free eggs, things that are really going to help the body, not hinder the body. It's not about being picky. It's not about being this crazy food person or anything. It's just being conscious and being mindful about what you're putting in your body. Your body's a temple, and it's going to reflect exactly what you put in it. Everyone always talks about, macros, micros, whatever the case may be. Your calories are going to determine, how you gain and lose weight, but your macros are going to determine how you look. If you're hitting your macros properly, which is basically eating the right amount of fats per day, eating the right amount of protein per day, the right amount of carbs per day, it's going to determine your body composition and how you look. The calories a day is just going to determine how fast and slow you gain or lose weight or maintain it. From simply not eliminating foods from my diet, but making conscious swaps, focusing on single ingredient foods that come from the earth. I have a saying, if it wasn't walking around and living on the earth, or it wasn't grown from the ground, you shouldn't be eating it. So if I ask you, where do eggs come from? A chicken. Where does steak come from? A cow. Where does turkey come from? It was walking around, whatever the case, it comes from a turkey. If I ask you, where does a Dorito come from? Where does a Cheeto come from? Where does an Oreo come from? Where does those squeeze candies come from? Where does, what's something big? Sour Patches, Fritos Fish. You get the gist. You get the point. If you can't tell me where on this earth it came from, it shouldn't go in your body, because it's going to constitute for weight that you didn't want. And on top of that, it's going to constitute for a different, myriad of different, it's going to constitute for a myriad of different ailments that can possibly come once it's stacked together with certain things. They talk a lot about kids being very hyper and very, off the walls and stuff. But if you look at some of the snacks that they get sent to school with, they're getting sent with flaming hot Cheetos. They're getting sent with these fruit juices, these high fructose corn syrup juices. All of that messes with the mind at the end of the day. So your kid really doesn't have ADHD. It's just, you just need to clean up their gut health. Your gut health is going to determine how you're thinking up top. I always tell people your stomach is your second brain. Sometimes it's even your first brain, because this is going to feed this. So if this is messed up, this is going to think messed up. But these were just little simple things that helped me lose over 100 pounds. Eliminating foods. It wasn't eating salads all day. Right? My diet is, I eat ground meat. I eat steak. I eat chicken. I eat eggs all the time. I eat rice from time to time. I have pasta. That's another thing, when it comes to your carbs, especially the rice and the pasta, people don't even pay attention to the difference between enriched pasta and regular pasta. Enriched rice and regular Thai jasmine rice. Enriched rice is the reason why you're dealing with, or you're having troubles with having rice or eating rice, and you're not losing the weight that you want, or your body isn't looking the way that you want it. The enrichment process is when you take either rice or pasta, whatever the carb is, you remove it of its natural proteins, minerals, and everything, and you add synthesized proteins and minerals and everything to increase shelf life, or to do whatever else, the enrichment process does to it. So like when you go and you look at your bag of rice, you'll see enriched rice, right? Goya enriched rice. You look at the ingredients list, you'll see niacin, riboflavin, and all a bunch of these different things. Those are synthetic nutrients. Those are things that your body should not and cannot break down. When you get rice, the problem with rice and the problem with pasta isn't long grain, short grain, wheat pasta, protein pasta. No, it's enriched versus non-enriched. You want clean ingredients. When you look at your rice, you want it to just say rice or whatever type of rice it is. When you look at your pasta, you just want to see semolina, wheat, flour, whatever the case may be. That's what you need to be looking for. It's those little key tricks that makes it easier to lose weight. And that's why I created my root list as of recently, and I'm going to be launching it very, very soon this month, probably within the next couple of weeks, which is basically an extensive food swapping ecosystem that is going to make decision making as far as grocery shopping so much easier. You can think about it as like a holy Bible of ingredients for you to choose from. So like when you go into the grocery store, you just pull out that root list, and I have detailed ingredients of what you should be buying and what you shouldn't be buying, and why not. So for example, on there you'll see like deli meats is something that you should try and stay away from because of the carcinogens in there. You'll see that you shouldn't be having like regular sugar, that regular domino sugar, white sugar, should not be in your system. Taking out canola oil, seed oils, only cooking in olive oil, beef tallow, avocado oil, coconut oil, buying the right milk, buying the right dairy, buying the right eggs. It's not about eliminating, and that's what I tell people. Dieting is not about eliminating. It's about swapping out for a better ingredient, a better option that it's actually going to help you. You can still have chips, you can still have cookies, you can still have cakes, you can still have pasta, rice, all of these things that you love and you've enjoyed since you was a kid, but it's all about choosing the right versions of it. Once you do that, you mix that in with your daily working out, because working out is usually not the problem for people. People know, or they easily work out because they enjoy it. It's the dieting aspect, and that's why I created the root list. So be on the lookout for my root list. I'm going to be launching that very, very soon. It's going to have a promo launch price for 14 days of $29. And then after 2 weeks, it's going to be staying at its standard price of $49. So make sure you're one of those first few people that are getting it in that first 2 week span. That is going to be your bread and butter. It is going to be so much easier for you to shop. Like whenever you go shopping, when you go out to a restaurant, whatever the case may be, you have that list on you. You'll be able to make easier decisions without having to think about it. I did all the thinking for you. All you have to do is look and change and swap and watch the weight come off and drop. But that's enough ranting for me. These were just a few things that really made a difference and made a change that helped me lose over 120 pounds naturally, with no supplements, no Wegovy, no any of that, no GLP-1s, and it's nothing against GLP-1s. Some people actually need it and stuff like that, but I did it the natural way. No supplements, no anything. The only thing I took at most is protein powder, and that's it. No creatine, no thermogenics, no anything. So there are ways to do it out there. It's just you have to know how to do it. But remember, keep your health first. And this is Rooted and Rebuilt Health, where you're rooted in health and rebuilt with a purpose. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the video if you found this helpful. And I'll see you in the next one. Yeah.